Anna Politkovskaya, a Russian journalist, by Kira Doherty Hurwitz, Aaliyah McWalter, and Alyssa Brown. It's the information that matters, not what you think about it, said Anna Politkovskaya, showing her dedication to allowing the world to see the truth no matter what the cost. In many countries around the world, journalism is crucial to spreading information. Often, though, leaders block reporting to conceal bad information about their country or themselves. This is very apparent in Russia. Due to Vladimir Putin's authoritarian rule, Anna Politkovskaya, a Russian journalist, was targeted and killed because of her controversial and honest reporting about Chechen human rights. Under the rule of Vladimir Putin, Russia is slipping away from democracy and moving towards an authoritarian government. When he has a goal, Putin has no consideration for his citizens and simply wants to get it done no matter the impact on his people. For example, he had his government drop a bomb on a family, killing 5 children simply in pursuit of one man. Putin is gradually taking freedom away from his people. As Denali Marsh, an author from The Global State, explains, Putin has progressively undermined civil liberties and slowly consolidated power in the hands of central government. He is slowly beginning to disregard democracy and take power into his own hands. He has also created laws restricting civil liberties and free speech. This is crucial because this action is completely against democracy. Restrictions on free speech take a huge toll on journalism as well. The Constitution does provide for freedoms such as speech and organization, but there are still some laws that allow the government to restrict things such as speech and organization. Also, the government controls every national television network, as well as many radio and pronto outlets, and even most of the media advertising market. The government uses these ways of communicating to help themselves. For example, there was one politically independent TV station, and that was dropped by many cable companies. Even after it survived with the help of the internet, laws were made so their main money source was cut, along with over 100 other regional channels. In many countries, journalism is struggling because journalists do not have the freedom to document events going on in their country. Without journalists, the rest of the world may not have any idea of what is happening in a country, or have any insight on events. Knowing and understanding what is happening throughout the world is vital. Despite this, many rulers and governments do not allow information on their country to be exposed, and journalism is severely restricted because they are afraid that their reputation or the reputation of their country will be damaged. Reporters are often targeted, tortured, or killed for their work. While there is no incriminating proof, there are many examples of journalists in Russia alone being killed. Also, many of these people were writing about sensitive subjects and were threatened and warned many times. Between 2000 and 2004, many journalists were killed in Russia, such as Paul Klebanov, Dmitry Shevets, Valery Ivanov, and Sergei Ivanov. Anna Politkovskaya is one of the many victims of this issue. Politkovskaya was an investigative journalist for the Novaya Gazette. She wrote about violence in the army, corruptions in state structures, and police brutality. Her most famous reporting was done on criticizing Vladimir Putin's government and exposing information about the war in Chechnya. As Charles Diggs states, the acclaimed Russian journalist and author who built her reputation on her blistering criticism of the Kremlin and President Vladimir Putin's aggressive stance against civil society, because of many things Politkovskaya discussed in her reporting, she was warned and received numerous threats for her work. For example, she talked about how people were tortured for confessions that weren't true, and wrote about how torture was being widely used to extract false confessions. She even got a statement from a man who was captured and tortured. He said that they accused him of killing 2 men in Chechnya, and he swore he didn't, but they tortured him, saying, "Yes, you did kill them." They also said he would be tortured more unless he confessed. The people who tortured him made him promise that he would testify that all of his injuries occurred while he was trying to escape, or they would torture him yet again. By revealing this information, Politkovskaya showed a horrible situation that puts an unpleasant face on Russia and makes the country and its leaders look unacceptable. In her book, Putin's Russia, she openly criticizes Kadyrov, the president of Chechnya, and Putin, and was accused by many critics of lacking objectivity. This was insulting to Putin, and he would not and could not stand it. This behavior of a ruler goes all throughout history. As a dictator or monarch, if anyone spoke out against them and their beliefs, they were punished. Putin acted this way, demonstrating a government far from democracy. Politkovskaya finally was punished for her actions. One of her colleagues overheard some of the reporters say that they should stay clear of reporting on Chechnya, but Politkovskaya ignored this warning. She was an excellent journalist and strived to allow the people to see the reality of this war. She worked for the Novaya Gazette, where she was admired for her bravery, and the editor said no one will ever be able to replace her. Politkovskaya published an article with a grainy photo of Chechnyan security forces beating two men to death, along with the video's audio transcript showing the men taunting their victims. She exposed thorough information on the Chechen situation. Putin would not have it because she was directly accusing the Kadyrov, who was a friend of Vladimir Putin's. When she went to publish yet another article on the subject, she was killed. Politkovskaya was found dead in an elevator the morning of the expected release of this article. Years later, 5 men were convicted of killing Politkovskaya. The 5 contract killers have been jailed, but the person who ordered the killing has not been found. The most common speculation is that Putin or Kadyrov were behind it, seeking revenge for what Anna said. This is most likely because of actions and laws Putin has made and his clear grudge against her. Putin promised to take every step to investigate the murder while talking to President Bush. Even though this was promised, none of the high-profile journalist murderers were convicted in past years, so no one expected anyone to be brought to justice. This is some proof that he may have been behind the murder. A former police officer was part of the 5-man killing team. He negotiated a shorter jail sentence behind closed doors in return for the name of the person who hired the team. However, this never came to pass as he postponed his sentence due to health issues. Another theory is that people trying to discredit Putin killed Anna to do so. They may have had in mind that if she was killed, the first suspect and person to blame would be Putin. Clearly, Putin was a threat to many citizens in different ways. In all, because of all of her important yet controversial reporting, information was allowed to be spread, but at a cost.